Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha, and today we're going to be talking about college note taking. This is a topic I could easily talk about for an hour and still not cover everything, but I'm hoping in the next few minutes you'll get some strategies that you can start using today to make your note taking more efficient and effective. Before we get into the thick of everything, I do want to point out that note taking is not one size fits all. The strategies that you use will differ based on learning preferences and courses that you're taking. So while your notes will look different than the person next to you, your own notes will look different from course to course based on the material that you're learning. So, what format should you use? There are so many out there, and this is not an exhaustive list, but these three are very commonly used among students. The first are guided notes. When the professor gives you the PowerPoint in advance or provides handouts or outlines, this is whenever you use those to follow along during the lecture. Another method is the Cornell note taking method. This is an established standard practice that is a really good method for most courses and most learning preferences. There are a few ins and outs to learning how to take those properly. So you'll want to Google that and look up, one of the many sites that cover that. I would recommend doing the same thing for T-chart notes. This is useful for classes that use problem solving. So math, chemistry, where you want to break things down step by step. Cornell and T-chart both have so many websites out there that'll break down how to use them properly. And if that's something that you're interested in, I suggest going that route. So, for strategy number one, avoid writing everything your professor says. Or I should say, avoid attempting to, because it's almost impossible to successfully do that. So, what can you do instead of writing the lecture word for word? You can focus on main ideas and concepts and write big picture, ideas. Use abbreviations to cut down on the time it takes you to type and write out your notes. You also want to make note of any slide numbers, tables, charts, or references that you need to review later when you have more time. And you also want to write down any questions or vocabulary terms that really don't make sense to you that you can get clarification on after class when you have more time as well. And after you've written your notes, I always recommend that you annotate your notes along with annotating any books or handouts that you might have. Annotating involves breaking things down and writing out onto the side little notes to yourself. So, writing questions or concepts in the margins to get clarification on later. Summarizing key points. Take a paragraph or two of your notes and in one or two phrases, summarize what you're talking about. Note the importance of charts, diagrams, and pictures so that when you're glancing through your notes, you quickly can see what the importance and significance of that chart is and move along. And then lastly, you want to write down any specific or important information that your professor mentions that you can't find anywhere else. So, for example, if your professor is mentioning some material that's in chapter 10 of your textbook, make a note that there's information there, but you don't need to write it all down because you can go back and look in your textbook. Now, if they say a little aside like, hey, this will be on the test, but you're not going to find it anywhere, or oh, I will go look at this item, it might be useful when you're studying. Those are things you want to write down because those are things that you're not going to be able to find in your notes, in your book, or in class material that you're still going to want to know for your exam. So, second strategy, easy with the color coding and highlighter. I know it is so tempting to write everything in a bunch of colors and highlight like crazy because it makes us feel like we're really following along and that we're getting the material. They can be useful, but you need to have a system so that it's actually benefiting you and you're not just getting tricked into thinking you know more than you do. So I provide an example. Vocabulary words are maybe blue, formulas are green, questions are red, and any important examples you highlight in yellow. Whatever system you use doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're consistent and that that system actually has meaning for you that will help you when you're studying. So then the last strategy that I have that most students forget to do is after you take those notes, review those notes. Immediately following class, you want to review the information while it's still fresh and easily available. This is a time to fill in any gaps or incomplete notes that you have to make sure you have all of the information. I also suggest meeting with a friend or another student in the class to compare notes. Compare, not copy. You want to see if there's any differences or discrepancies between your notes and the other person's notes to make sure that both of you have all the information, you're not missing anything important. Lastly, you want to review previous notes before lectures. This gives you a chance to review the information and refresh what you're learning and prepare you to start learning the new material in class that day. Like I said, this was a really quick video about a topic that can easily be covered in an hour or 2-hour workshop. So for more information, please visit the Academic Support Services page on TLU's website under the Student Life tab. You can also follow us on Instagram at TLU Academic Support for up-to-date information about our services and things going on around campus. We hope to see you there and have a great rest of your day.